All right. So thank you for joining, Dan. I'm not sure if you realize that, but we know each other since 2015. I'm not sure if you realize that.
2015. My
Yes.
gosh. And how did we meet?
Okay. At that time, I actually gave you a call, and you were selling businesses, basically different kind of businesses. It was a local business in Atlanta that you were part of, and you were selling that. And I talked to you about it. We then probably 2 or 3 months later, I called you again, and we talked up, and you say, "Hey, stop by my office." I believe it was on Roswell Road in Atlanta at that time. And
Hmm.
also, I at that time I was developing a web application for local churches, so they would accept
Ah,
donations.
yes. Yes,
And
gosh, that was a million years ago. The thought of churches not accepting donations through an app on your phone is unthinkable.
exactly.
It's
So
just ubiquitous all over the place. Yeah, so things just change. It's like and by the way, the I guess the comforting thing is 10 years from now, the stuff that we're finding out so cutting edge right now is just going to be passe. I mean,
exactly.
it's so time keeps moving on.
Yeah, and what I have noticed, churches are the last entities that adapts technology. So at that time, I was ahead of everyone. I was offering them an option to swipe the card through the swipe reader, and they were kind of, oh, it's something out of ordinary. And nowadays, the system that we placed in one of the churches, it's actually one of the mega churches in Atlanta. They processing few millions dollars a year actually, and they say, hey, the system works great, and even it's bringing us more funds than any other systems that we're adapting.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, but it's you who did it because I mean, you're out there on the forefront, getting a lot of rejections along the way, and then you get some hits here and there. But
Exactly.
that's called living. That's good living right there.
Yeah, that's right. So, what do we talk to? I mean, what do we wanted to talk about today is more of a technology and AI. I think that would be the more twist. And as you mentioned, that of course it's going to be more and more people who are going to be adapting AI, adapting the latest technology, and I hope everyone would be mindful of and with open mind listening to our video and
Yeah.
actually take something away from it, right? About a couple of years ago, when the whole ChatGPT got to be noticeable for everyone, I started adapting in my company, and writing some blog posts here and there, optimizing it for my company, and we realized that, hey, this is a big thing, and this is the next thing. So we started implementing some automation and things like that. But I think right now it's more and more people who in sales like you adapting this technology, and that's what I want to talk to you about, and see how you see this, and how you maybe implement it, and maybe you have talked to one of your customers who already implemented such a technology, and maybe there's something that maybe even we can help.
Yeah, sure. I listen. I, the new technology, like anything else, you always are afraid that it's going to replace people, or people are going to become no longer necessary, and that these tools are just going to take over. But you really never know what's going to happen, and you generally what you think is going to happen, you're always wrong. And when I say always wrong, I mean like 100% of the time. And so nobody's you don't need to be afraid of anything. I'm reminded of like you know the Kindle. Remember the Kindle came out,
Yes.
you know, and I thought it would put books out of business. I thought bookstores would be total. I mean, look at it, it's the perfect thing. You get this, you can get a million books on this little, you know, this little device here. You could take it everywhere. You could just lose it. You know, you could just be on planes. It doesn't take up any room. You don't have to flip pages. You can read at night without disturbing other people with more lights on. It's the greatest thing in the
Exactly.
world, and it is. But turns out now in 2024, uh, more books are sold now. Regular old fashioned books are sold now than ever before. And it turns out that most books are bought and traded during holiday seasons, during Christmas and Hanukkah, and for any holiday, for birthdays and all that stuff. And nobody likes receiving a digital file. Like, that's not a gift, you know, but books are a
True.
real gift to somebody.
Hmm.
And so that's not something that you would have expected. It's actually increased, you know, book sales. And so you wouldn't know. And so people are afraid of ChatGPT taking over, like teaching people how to code and the implementation of automations and things like that. It's good as a tool that it could teach you how to do what you need to do, but someone needs to implement it. Someone needs to take
Exactly.
action. How salespeople really ought to be using ChatGPT is figuring out the systems that they want to put within their lifestyle and their sales program in terms of follow up and all that. And then have an assistant, a real live human being, do those implementations and take care of it for you. If you get stuck doing that implementation, it's the same thing. You're not saving any time. Used to be everybody had an assistant, everybody had a sales assistant, but now, you know, to write letters to people and all sorts of stuff. Now it's so easy to get email back and forth. So now the salesperson is forced to do all that stuff themselves. And so technology that made things so much faster didn't really help the salesperson. Salesperson needs to utilize all the AI that's coming out right now as just tools to help them succeed. But once they develop the strategy on how you want to use it, give it to somebody else to go ahead and do the implementation, and you can double, triple, and quadruple your production.
So speaking about that, you probably used a chatbot in an airport or any other places with big companies, right? When you stuck on something and then you started typing, "Hey, can you help me out?" And things like that. And what used to be, it was a person on another side typing that in. So speaking about implementing ChatGPT with the chatbots, do you think
Mm-hmm.
for salespeople, like for sales folks that you're training daily, do you think that would be a good addition? Not replacement, of course, but a good addition, like a virtual assistant slash automated virtual assistant with the knowledge of business. For example, what I have seen and I have implemented to a couple of clients who are really happy, last year, and I'm implementing this year. They are really happy when a chatbot is actually talking to a customer and converting
Mm-hmm.
from a lead to the customer. I mean, to the user and converting from lead to the customer. My client was really happy, and he included additional 25 people on the email saying, "Hey, I love it. How it actually it came in and converted my visitor into a customer." And I was in that email, and he was like, "Hey, this is awesome. This is fantastic." Of course, not for everyone it's working that way. There's customers who still want to talk on the phone. There are statistics out there that supports that. But from your point of view, do you think that's going to be more and more, adapting, or do you think it's kind of going to be up to a certain point? I mean, maybe there you
Yeah,
have some
I
sort of
think
insight.
yeah, I think it will be more and more until it's not. And what I mean by that is we as human beings are very good at spotting patterns. And once the pattern gets to a certain level where you realize, oh, this is a computer, I could say this and I can just go so far and then I'm not going to get that information. And then people will just change. A quick story. There's when dogs are hunting rabbits, something they do in England, but hare, they
Okay.
do hunting and all that stuff. So when they're chasing, a rabbit, all of a sudden when they realize they've been spotted, start just jumping here and twisting and back and forth and doing whatever they trying to get away. They're not thinking about that. It's like they can't think. They're somewhat random what they're going to do. Their bodies are just created that when they sense danger, something's going to happen. They don't think about it, because if they had to think about it, eventually the dogs would be, after decades and decades, they'd notice the patterns and they know what a rabbit does when they get this far away, and then they could be able to change the way they act according to the rabbit. So randomness sometimes is the most logical thing to do. And so when you're using AI and trying to build technology into a sales situation, which is by nature, every person is different. Everybody comes with a different amount of background into the situation, that random situation, and you try to systematize it with AI, it'll work for a while and then it
Okay.
won't. But what happens is then is you improvise, adapt, and overcome. And so you keep adding more and more information to your bot. Well, if you keep adding more and more information to your bot, it's not like you're saving anything. It's like you're doing the same stuff. And so, listen, it's great, but it's not a substitute of any other technology. That it's just you're going along with the same pattern. Become expert in it. Don't get me wrong. You got to keep on learning it, but don't ever expect to be all set, all done once you've implemented this. Oh, good. Now I'm done and everything's going to work. And
So
so
basically,
I don't know if
you
you're
you
happy with that answer, but that is the
no,
answer.
no, 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 no. I'm totally happy with that answer, and it supports my thesis in this case, right? Because
I'm drinking eggnog, by the way, but it's
oh, excellent.
non-alcoholic. Okay. There.
Sure. So, what I wanted to say, it's a supplemental thing. I think that's how we need to look at it, because it's like every business is trying to adopt AI in this case. I mean, today, and we all know that automation, AI, that is something. If you're not implementing, you're gonna be left behind, basically, right? So,
Well,
but
the A let me back up, because I think we should define what AI is. Uh,
okay.
and so well, why don't you tell me, being the expert?
Okay, so the AI is basically um, it's a large data model language that has a lot of information being fed into it, and basically it's using like a vector database and other technologies to actually train, not to train, but actually give back to you information that it actually scraped from not only from internet, but people have been feeding into that and been identifying as some sort of models. For example, when we are trying to train the model, for example, if it's a visual representation, we, for example, build a mobile app that actually helps golfers to perform better, right? So you can actually take a video of the golfer, and then we were identifying 10 different positions, and we say, well, this is position 1, this is position 2, this is position 3, and so on. And then we train other videos against that video, and we say, yes, this is same sort of spots, same sort of positions. And when a user gonna upload their own video, and then we will run the comparison to the ettalon video, then we'll say, oh, you actually did something wrong here, something wrong there, but over here on the 3 positions you're great. So you have to look at the other positions, how you do that. So basically, validation is has to be done by humans anyway, right? And but it actually
So
doing
basically,
better and
all
better.
right, right, yeah, and so and I think that's correct, and I think people need to. That's a way not to be afraid of it when you think that it really is just a very fast way to get uh, unusual amounts of data into an interface that's readable. So once you have that real time data, you can make decisions on how you're going to act on that.
Sure.
I have I have
Yes.
a I have a client that does travel. He basically for companies that have multi-million dollars, excuse me, of travel expenses, $100 million or $10 million and above of travel expenses. He could save them 10% automatic by uh, implementing his AI product, which basically not only measures, airline fees and times that you're going and all that, but like using this type of Uber instead of this type of Uber at this time and back and forth and getting a
Hmm.
toothbrush instead of, I don't know, it gets so much data that it gives a CFO enough information to make little slight changes that'll save everybody money. And so, I mean, that's the way you use the AI. But then once everybody has that data, then you've kind of lost your advantage. So business is constantly looking just for faster ways to get more real-time data so they can make more educated decisions.
Yes, and also on a different note, it's not only spotting the patterns, okay, but also you have to with AI these days, it's not only spotting the patterns, but it's kicking into the more logical things, right? For example, when you are writing some sort of email and then you ask, hey, ChatGPT, can you rewrite the email better? And it actually finds different alternatives, right, to rewrite it better. And keeping the sense of the email the same way. For example, that was the big difference between ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4 because ChatGPT 4 has more inputs and more outputs that it can process. So I think moving forward we will be seeing more and more improvements on that. So, like you said, and like I'm saying, I think that's what we have to look for moving forward and implement it in the businesses. You know, sales much better than me, who are a technical guy. I've been 20 years, developing different systems, websites, mobile apps, and mobile games, obviously as well. But and down into right now we look into crypto in Web3, that kind of thing, but and AI, of course. But for me, sales is kind of foreign, even that I have to be in sales because without sales I cannot move my company, right? I mean, I have to kind of count on my referrals and word of mouth, that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is sometimes is not lucrative, right? Because you go through feast and famine, which is kind of really not comfortable to any company and not comfortable for anyone. So that's why I'm looking for to work with the sales team, with the marketing team, to actually see how we can adapt to new technology, adapt to AI, and maybe you can tell from your point of view that Max, you should look into this particular avenue, or try to adapt technology and I in this particular level, and then level up for sales. I think that would be a good question to you, and see what you can have to say on this.
Well, okay, I'll answer it in two ways. First of all, for you as a business, what you're looking to do as a business is, admittedly, you're not a salesperson, and it's kind of antithetical to your personality. Uh, I don't think you want to be a salesperson, even just by your mannerisms, just saying, yeah, of course I have to do it, but it's sort of like grudgingly, I'm going to have to do that. And so that comes across. People that are really good at sales and getting new business flip and love it. I mean, love it. I mean,
Hmm.
working on their objection handling, overcoming all the time, coming up with new things. I'm like, oh, that, and like all that. I mean, they live it. You'll never be that. So for a business like you, either you have a sales department, or I would hire an outsourced sales department. There's
Okay.
companies that can do that for you for 5, 6 grand a month, and basically they'll have their team of people do all this stuff, implement the technology back and forth and all that. So that's what a company like yours ought to do, and offset that. But in terms of AI, because you have the AI, you could give them that and they could do it. But in terms of using AI for the salesperson, and that's what I recommend. I recommend that what if you're a salesperson out there working for a company, you don't have to wait on your company that you're working for to implement those automations and those chatbots and all those things. It's so inexpensive now, and the technology is out there now. You ought to do that for yourself, and at the end of the day, and so that all the information, all the leads and stuff that you're getting for the company. Eventually, if you lose that company, or leave that company, you're building your own database that you can constantly go back to for another company or what have you. And this is the new world of everybody's kind of self-employed nation. And the sales business is no different than anything else. 10 years from now, your biggest asset is going to be your database. So build it. Have your own CRM. Have your own, weekly newsletter that goes out. Have your own way of capturing names and capturing people and information and lists of different things that you can go back to later. And so, yes, the chatbots, of course, set that up for yourself. But I wouldn't wait on your company to do that and to implement this grand scheme. You just want a way to consistently follow up with all the contacts that you're creating in your life. And it's easy enough to do. It's a sin against humanity not to be doing it right now. So there.
Yes, gotcha. So, but also to sales people out there, and actually to the companies out there, every company is trying to find their own niche, right? And every salesman also have to have their own niche to where they're selling their widgets, they're selling services and things like that. How do for example, if a salesman used to sell some sort of widgets, and today he was hired by another company to sell services in sales, how he can switch and how he can utilize that database that he was accumulating for the last couple of years, for example.
Well, I'll tell you right now, because most of your customers that you'll ever meet in your life have this one thing in common.
Okay, what is it?
98% of the people you meet have one thing in common. They're all human. There
Okay.
is 2%, of course, that's lawyers, and you can't count that. But if everybody's human, you're not, Max, you're not selling widgets. You're not selling services.
Okay.
What you're selling always is outcomes, is
Okay.
solutions to whatever problem that they're having. And so if you keep that as your mindset, someone who's if you're selling mortgages, someone who's buying, if you're selling mortgages, you got somebody who's a homeowner. That homeowner is probably going to need, landscaping in their life. That homeowner is probably going to need, foundation repair. The person's probably going to need a roof. They're going to probably need all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
So you're constantly dealing with the same person that needs everything. If they're dealing with a business, they need, the type of business consulting that you're selling right now, or they might be needing some sort of, financial consulting. They might need some sort of, paper supplies. They need a million things, but the customer stays the same. Just the outcomes is what you're selling. And if you're their trusted advisor, there's a weird thing. It's a psychological thing, but it's odd. But when you do one thing really exceptionally well,
Hmm.
people think you do everything well. If Elon Musk decided to make refrigerators right now, I'm a buyer. I don't care what he does. He could make ice cream. I'm a buyer.
So, from your point of view, it looks like it's the same sort of thing. Like um, people who used to buy Macintoshes
Yeah.
20 years back, and they are still loyal today. They will
Hmm.
buy any Mac products. They buy any Mac apps and things like that. That's the strategy that you're saying, right? And this is how the sales people have to be.
Well,
Is
it's not that no, yes and no. Uh,
Okay.
yes, they're loyal to Mac, but they're more loyal to me, the guy who
Mm-hmm.
sold them the Mac.
Got it.
They trust me now, and that's where the salesperson needs to go when we're
So
talking about that
basically,
self-employed niche.
this is salesperson becomes
You're
their
calling me. Hold
brand.
on. You met
Brand.
me.
Yes,
You met me 10 years ago,
exactly.
right? When you want to think of who am I going to call to do this podcast and get this thing out and do this interview, who am I going to call? You call the DH. There's a
Exactly.
million other people out there, you know?
Yes. So, so I think we're talking about personal brand now. Is that correct? So basically, every salesperson have to have their own personal brand. That's what you started telling. Basically, that's what you
Well, look,
started
you know
saying.
what? Um, brand is, in a personal world, if you don't have a product and you are the salesman, your brand is in essence your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said 10 years, your most important thing is your database. 10 years from now, 20 years from now are going to happen whether you're building your reputation or not,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're building that brand or not,
Of
whether you're
course.
being consistent or not. That time is still going to pass. What if you just decided to write a blog a week? In a year you got 50 of them. In 10 years you got 500 blogs. All of a sudden you have this reputation of being this prolific writer. You just did one a week.
True. I agree with you there.
But all of a sudden, if you had the choice to do business with somebody, you wanted a blog writer. I don't know why I picked that as an example. You got one guy who's starting out and he's on Fiverr and he's done a bunch of things here, and you got someone who's got 500 in his background that's been helping people. Who are you going to use?
Of course, yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, the more the more name that you're going to be seeing in the social media feed or any other, or you have seen
Right.
their content, or of course you're gonna try to say, well, I have seen this guy a lot. Let me contact him and see how he can
Yeah.
help me out. Of course.
And then you will have developed a style from doing it that long. Then you put all your stuff into ChatGPT and you create I don't know, what do you call it? An agent or something like that. You create
Yes,
an agent with all your stuff in there. And then you could just ask ChatGPT, write an article about this in my style with all this stuff. And then it does it like that. Then you can do one a day. But it
exactly.
starts with you bringing yourself and putting it out there. And then you have a body of work that your personal agent can pull from, and then it's so much more realistic. Then
Okay.
you're not
Yes.
grabbing from other people, you're building your own stuff. I don't know how
Yeah.
we got here, but that's how to use it.
Yes, and in technical term, we call it a knowledge base. That's basically where you put all your information, how you run your business, how you, for example, frequently asked questions, and how you run internal operation, how you what kind of checkbox, I mean, checklist you have, for example, to deliver some sort of services or products or whatever, and you put that in the knowledge base, and you actually query the knowledge base, and actually that's how chatbot is actually producing answers to the questions that people are asking through
Yeah,
chatbot.
but what happens? Listen, there are places that it'll do it, that the AI and that knowledge base will do really well. It's great for marketing and it's great for answering some
Hmm.
some types of questions. But when it gets to the point of actually selling, you need a human. It needs to be to the point where uh, very quickly that bot needs to say something like, "Very good question. I'd love to get you in touch. I'm going to have somebody call you. What's your number?" You know,
So,
very quickly it has to get there.
so how
It's
quickly
great
is
for
there?
appointment setting.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, chatbot have to go ahead and say, "Hey, let me create an appointment for you," and then
Yeah,
somebody gonna get back to
much
you on
better
this.
for appointment setting than for selling.
Mm-hmm.
It
Got
could
it.
be great for appointment setting because it's willing to ask for the appointment every time,
Exactly.
you know. And so yeah, and
Without hesitation, right? Without
it doesn't
hesitation.
well, it doesn't chicken out. You know,
Exactly. That's
sometimes
what
I'm
I'm
in a
talking about.
conversation with people, even myself, and I'm very friendly. I get very friendly with you, and we're nice, and now we're friends and all that stuff. And and you give me some pissant objection, which I know is a bunch of garbage, but we're nice, and I don't really want to push it because, whatever, and so I don't do it. A machine will always do. I
Exactly.
just want, let's, you say, I can't really make the decision. I have to talk to my boss. Well, I would say, just get him on the phone. Do it right now. Get them on the phone, do it
Hmm.
right now. But sometimes we're friendly. I'm not willing to do that. And yeah. And so, but a machine will do that, with the chat box. So I think it's great. So I would do it very quickly. I would answer one little question and then I would just say, uh, 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 the chat bot would say, just for my own edification, why are you asking that? And then
Hmm.
have them say something to me. I say, based on what you're saying here, we probably should get somebody on the phone. Give me your number. I'll have Dan give you a call right now.
Exactly. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then get me, do
Mhm.
that.
And by the way, I just wanted to let you know on this. With the chatbots right now, you can actually send to the ChatGPT previous questions and answers. Basically your conversation, and based on that conversation, it actually can come up with the next questions. But what you have to say, hey, the strategy of this particular conversation is X, Y, Z. And that's how it's gonna do. It's gonna say, well, I hear you everything, blah blah blah, but how about next Tuesday at 3 o'clock? So right exactly what you said. It drives home, right? It drives home everyone is to actually go ahead and create the appointment. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, nothing's perfect, but the slightest thought that you're dealing with a machine and not a human, you start, there's that randomness of human nature. Nobody likes to be made a fool of.
Hmm.
Nobody likes to be tricked. My wife hates magic. It's like I can't even do little magic. Sometimes I want to practice a little magic trick. She
Hmm.
hates magic. She runs away. And there's a lot of people like that because they don't. It's almost like, oh, look here, look at that. I fooled you. You thought I was here, but really I'm over here. You're an idiot. Look how smart I am. Like that's what they hear. And so the
Uh-huh.
same thing is with it's a bot. Um, I don't want to deal with a human. I'll say that on the phone if I get the slightest thing. I go, are you a real human or a machine? Sometimes I do that, and they laugh or whatever. And so my question is, what did you have for dinner last night? And that's how I
Exactly.
find out. But
And they say, "Oh, it was some
but
sort of carrots."
but maybe I'm sensitive, but there are some things like to order a pizza. I'm happy to deal with the machine.
Hmm.
But if I'm gonna buy anything of significance, I need to be sold.
Of course, yes,
I need a human.
exactly, human touch. But that's a good analogy. So you would go ahead and buy the pizza through the chatbot, but
Yeah.
you would not buy something more meaningful. So a big
Well, a
decision,
business
basically,
service,
correct?
when I'm buying a business service, I mean, ultimately to place the order, I might do that, but
Mm-hmm.
it won't be. I'm not just
Of
going to go in
course.
and place the order. Will have done the research and spoken to somebody and all that stuff. Or maybe I didn't speak with somebody, but I've been in correspondence with some sort of email thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, if there's in business services, again, I'm buying outcomes, and the outcome normally in business services is how can I get, is this going to help me earn more or be more successful in my company than this other product? For
Hmm.
something like that, um, we need to seek a human. We need to,
Of course.
get real referrals, make some phone calls, do all that stuff.
Gotcha. So, speaking on a different subject, still with AI and with the chatbot, for example, Siri and Alexa, all of those bots that voice activated bots.
Yeah,
Are they playing a good role in our lives or bad role?
yeah.
From your point of view, from a sales point of view, do you think that that would be a great way for a company to say, "Hey, I would love to have my business in with the voice activated, so Siri or Alexa can crawl my website and actually have all my information about my website in their database and actually work through that. Do you think that's a good thing, or people are still scary about it? Because why I'm talking
I don't.
about I actually
Yeah,
heard from Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm not sure if you're aware of who he is. He 5 years ago he said, "Oh, everyone want to have their website voice activated and so on." And I'm not seeing that even happening right now. But he actually said that about 5 years ago. So I'm not seeing that to be a wide adaptation. But from your point of view, do you think from sales and how people adapt to the new technology by regular folks like this, do you think that will be happening?
I don't even know what that means. A voice activated website. What does that mean?
Well, okay.
How would that help me as a salesperson earn more money?
Okay, so, you as a salesperson would earn more money is basically we can for example, a technology company can put specific tags on your website where Siri will visit your website and read about your website of specific tags and actually start reading that information about your company. I mean,
And
of course.
it's going to talk about me and my company.
Yes,
I
it
already
can do
know. I already
it can
know
do,
about me and my company.
no. For example, other people are gonna talk about, oh, tell me about Dan and so on and so
All
forth.
right. So here's the thing. Um, I'm a sales guy, so
Exactly.
I know, not much, but what I'm about to say is, I know this is a fact. Nobody cares about me.
Okay.
All right. I don't want them talking about me. I want to find out. I want to talk about them. I want them to talk about their problems. And I'm gonna talk about their problems. I'm gonna find out what their problems are and then come up with solutions for their problems, not me. They're not buying that. I don't care about my company. I want to know about their company. There's three words that repel your prospect from you. Those three words are I, we, and us, and you use them all the time. And I'm certainly not going to invest money for them to say I, we, and us. That's crazy. Now, the three words that they respond to that attracts people to you are you, yours, and y'all. So,
Hmm.
if you're like most technology people, Max, you have like three main problems. You want to get more clients, you want a bigger pipeline, and you want a consistent flow of income. Am I pretty close to the truth?
Of course. I mean,
Okay. All right, good. So,
every company loves that.
right. Okay. So, if there was a way that I could walk hand in hand with you over the next 3 months and build up a pipeline, several hundred people who have a need and want for your services, would that be something you'd be interested in talking about?
Of course.
Okay, good. So that whole process is talking about you. Not one time did I tell you what I can do for you. Not one time did I talk about my company.
Exactly.
right? Right. So I'm focusing on the solutions for you. Now, what AI can do is research companies and industries and find out what their three biggest challenges are at any moment of time, specific to that company, based on their position in the marketplace and all that stuff. And you can narrow down to the people in that industry who are most feeling the pinch or worried about their position or something, and then approach those people in a way that makes them feel as if you know them really
Hmm.
well. And once you do, you have a better chance of starting that conversation and solving that problem and earning more money. So that's how you want to use AI. Its greatest benefit, as far as I'm concerned, is its ability to be able to catch people in their buying cycle and with their specific problems that they're having at that time. But then you have to creatively approach them in a very personal manner. If you're trying to use it just to broadcast it for everybody, you're basically putting yourself on the same playing field as everybody else.
Hmm.
I spoke to a guy on my show a while ago who was really going after a whale. It was like a whale client that he's been really trying forever, and he couldn't get a hold of the person. And so he decided to do something creative, and he sent him in the mail a 12-foot long harpoon wrapped up in like it was, and with a long letter in there, and the letter said something, you are my whale, you're my Moby Dick. I wanted to I know we could do this for you. If you're having this problem, I know we can help you, whatever. And then a week later he sent him 2 gallons of tartar sauce. This is how confident I am, along with the letter and everything like that. And then he called a week later, and of course, the guy never called him, so he called up, and they said, who is this? He has to speak to the person, and the receptionist answered the phone, and he says, I'm the guy who sent the harpoon, and you're like, you're the guy, yeah. And then when he sent them through, and he eventually got the client, but he knew his challenges, he knew his needs, and then he creatively approached him. And
Wow.
so
I
again, AI
never,
is it's
I
just a
never
tool.
yeah, of course. Yes, it is just a tool, but we need to educate and we need to be educated, right? How to use the tool properly and not to uh, hurt ourselves or our
Well,
clients, right?
but therein lies the thing. You say use the tool properly. What is properly? From my perspective, properly is use the tool to uh, figure out what are the outcomes that your prospect wants.
Hmm.
Not use the tool like that, and type into stuff and know what to do. That's for guys like you to do. You know.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So there's a fine line, basically, a fine line between the technology and the human touch. And we learned today from Dan Jordan and Max Volkov that sales and technology should work together hand in hand, and it should be a fine line. It should be personal touch, and should be what else it should be. You can resume from your from your end.
Yeah. Well, don't be afraid of it. Years ago, people were afraid of the answering machine. They didn't want to put their voice on an answering machine. I imagine prior to that, people were afraid to use a telephone. They wanted to scream or use 2 cans with string. I don't know what it is, but it's just a tool of communication. There's in the world of business and marketing, there's the 3 M's. There's your message, which is what your product is, and your sell and how you display that message. There's your marketplace, and your marketplace is just who you're getting that message to. And then there's the media, and the media is just the delivery system of that message to the marketplace. And AI it
Use
just
the media.
enhances it. Yeah, it's just another delivery system, and it enhances all those other things, but it doesn't replace. Don't be scared of it. Have some fun out there. Make some mistakes. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think that was a good topic that we covered today.
Okay. All right. Let's go get
So,
them. Eat
all right,
well, live long, and prosper.
all right. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
All right.